Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Group Travel Odyssey's Convos with Colleagues. Sorry, we had a little bit of a technical glitch to start off, so we're a couple minutes behind schedule, but I think you're still going to be very excited to hear about the lovely Branson area from our guest, Lenni Neimeyer, who is the Director of Leisure Group Sales with Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau. So I read a little bit about Lenni earlier when we weren't live, but now we are. But I just wanted to point out, her heart is driven by working with groups. And she loves and cares about so much the Branson area that everything she's done in her past, she has worked with tour operators, travel agents, student groups, affinity groups, reunion groups, and she continues to cover anything in the group area that you would ever need. But she is a great ambassador for her city, and we're so thrilled to have her here with us today. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on Lenni Neimeyer.
Hi.
Welcome, Lenni.
Hi, Jo-Ann. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a crazy day, a crazy week, but I certainly wanted to find time to share with you and the folks listening today, my love for Branson and all the things involved in that. So.
Well, and we know that really for you all, there's never a downtime of year. You're constantly moving, and especially promoting your area.
Absolutely.
And I know, we think of that diamond, that gem as Branson that you represent. But even that outside of Branson, you cover a larger territory. So could you tell us everything that you cover in your special role?
Well, sure. And, I think I've been with the CVB almost 20 years now. And prior to that, 20 other plus years in the hospitality industry. And, many, many years ago, we were like, well, we're the only ones here. Well, really, regional destination marketing is really what groups are looking for today. And so, we've got Springfield, Missouri, about 30 miles north of Branson. It's the birthplace of Route 66. It's where Johnny Morris started his first Bass Pro. And then, 30 minutes south of Branson, we have the fabulous Eureka Springs, and then another half hour, Bentonville, Arkansas. Major destinations. And I know tours are incorporating those. So it's important that I have know as much as I can to share that with them as I'm talking to groups. Because again, we want groups to come and stay with us 3 or 4 nights, but we know in this day and time that a regional tour, a night or 2 in Springfield or down into Arkansas, incorporated in Branson, is really what folks I think are wanting today, groups that is.
And do you find, Lenni, because I've had the pleasure of visiting Branson once, it was for business, but it was for an extended amount of time. And there was so much more that I even realized was there to see and do, from indoor activities, outdoor activities. Do you find that people are surprised that there is so much to see and do there?
Absolutely. Up until 2020, when, the world shut down for a bit, I hosted 3 FAMs a year, plus some other events, but 3 FAMs a year. And tour operators and travel agents in April, military reunions in May, and then music educators in June or July to promote Branson as a student performance destination or just an entertainment destination. And one of my favorite things, and really it was many times the music educators, they would get here and I could just see this deer in the headlight look. They're like, we had no idea. And I said, I know, that's why you've been invited. That's why I want you to come and see and experience it firsthand. And, more tour operators and travel agents are familiar with it. And, military reunions. We still host anywhere from 500 to 600 military reunions a year. We're an amazing destination for them. So, but anyway, the big surprise was always with the music educators, the younger folks, Jo-Ann, and it was always fun to see them transform from, I know what Branson is, to, oh, wow, this is what Branson is. So it was always fun to see that transformation.
Well, I still have to take a step back because you had mentioned, I believe, if I understood correctly, 500 to 600 military groups you take care of a year.
Again, I don't do RFPs for all of them.
Sure,
but again,
sure.
According to our tracking, we host about that many. So many of these military reunions have come to Branson and have fallen in love with Branson, and they will book the same lodging. And again, reunions are annually, they're every other year, some are every 2 years. And, they develop relationships with the managers of the various lodging properties. So no, they'll book direct with them.
I'm impressed so much by the destination and the fact that, like you were just mentioning, the military reunions, which are sometimes a different age demographic. And then
totally.
you're talking about the student
Yeah.
performances. I mean, that's a big demo that you're covering with
Absolutely.
your destination.
Absolutely. Obviously, and really at the end of the day, even though my heart is into serving and promoting to leisure groups, that's what I've done for all these years. But really, Branson has always been a family destination, always a family destination. And so that, it's anybody, and really, quite frankly, anybody who's a family is a potential prospect for us. Family reunions, we had lots of them booked, and I had done those RFPs, lots of them booked in 2020. Obviously, they canceled. Some would cancel and move to 21. Some actually even moved to 22. So we anticipate a huge family reunion surge in 2022 for the ones that were postponed or canceled in 20 or 21. And we're an amazing family reunion destination. You can get a resort down by the lake, or you can stay in a hotel right on the main thoroughfare, Highway 76, and walk to shows and shopping. So yeah, it's an amazing destination for them, really for all groups.
Well, and what I'm hearing too is with this surge of groups that are coming back, and then families, and you're going to get the family reunions as well. I mean, it sounds like people really need to book early in order to block space in your hotels and the surrounding areas in order to make that happen. In saying that, what is the best way for tour operators and group leaders to work with you, Lenni?
Well, there's a variety of ways. And we're so fortunate. My destination is so fortunate. We've been dealing with tour companies, the same tour companies for years and years and years. And through that, they've developed relationships all over the community. I mean, I definitely want them to call me, and I'll direct them in the right place they need to go, whether they're looking for lodging. We do RFPs, requests for proposal, no cost or obligation, to find lodging and shows and what have you. Mm-hmm. But again, if a tour operator or a travel agent is currently happy with the way they are booking Branson or finding what they need, continue to do that. We still have lots of receptives here in Branson, and receptives who, that one call does it all. I don't book anything, Jo-Ann. I just lead them to the person who can help them with the information. Well, yeah, but I'm here. Again. I mean, people will call me this time of year and say, Lenni, I can't find a dining property for my 50 people. Help me out. And, I'm immediately putting down a list, give them a call, let me know if that works out. So seriously, the smallest call, whatever you need, I'm going to help you find whatever that is.
Well, like you had mentioned earlier, your heart is in taking care of people and the destination. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why I call you the Queen of Branson, is because you really do want to be there for everyone. And you're the connector, right? You're not the person who's booking everything, but you're going to get anyone that wants to come there the answers to the questions they need, or the venue they need, and whatnot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that being said, we do have your website up, explorebranson.com/groups. Then, of course, folks can always reach out to Lenni at her email address as well, because she's, like you said, you're always going to be there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when we talk about, the variety of things to do there, and we were just talking about hotels, and you mentioned a lovely one down by the lake. What are some other things that folks can do? What is Branson really known for?
Well, we've always been known as the live music show capital, either of America or the world, depending on who you're talking to. So live music has always been at the heart and soul of Branson, probably from the 70s on, actually. And, in the early 1900s, we started out as a fishing vacation destination. And and again, we know about the Ballnovers opening a show on Lake Taneycomo, and then the Presleys opening the first theater on Highway 76 in the 60s. And so obviously in the 80s, I was here when Jim Thomas built the Lodge of the Ozarks, and he started bringing in stars like Barbara Mandrell and Jim Stafford and Roy Clark, and I mean, just a ton of Mel Tillis entertainers. And that's really kind of what kicked things off, because these entertainers are like, what's this Branson? You know, I can perform in a theater without traveling, you know, my life in a suitcase. And again, before long, within the early 90s, many of those entertainers had either built their own theater here in Branson or, you know, was working with a investor to build a theater. So anyway, it went kind of crazy. At one point, we had over 50 theaters, and a few of them, you know, the Grant Palace. I was the original group sales manager at the Grant Palace when it opened in the early 90s, 92.
And that venue was very large, wasn't it?
Oh my God, 4,000 seats. It was a $13 million theater, Jo-Ann. And there were 1,700 seats in the balcony and 2,300 on the main floor. Why I remember that, I have no idea. But anyway, I was the original group sales manager, and I met some amazing entertainers there. You know, Garth Brooks, Barbara Mandrell, Bob Hope, John Denver. Again, I know I'm leaving some really great people out, but it was an amazing time in Branson. It really, really was. But again, we've continued to evolve. We evolve just like all destinations do.
Sure. Well, and I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, the capital of live music. Did I get that correct?
Okay, let me say it again, because there's so many different ways to say it. Okay. We are the live music show capital of the world, or the live music show capital of America.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I'm talking to an international traveler, I like to throw that America thing in there. So, and that seems, you know, because again, we're just 30 miles south of the birthplace of Route 66 in Springfield, Missouri. And the Route 66 turns 100 years old in 2026. So not only are there going to be more international travelers coming through there, but I think domestic travelers are going to be reignited with the history of the Mother Road, Route 66. So
I just wrote down reignited because I think that's such a impactful word, especially after, you know, what we've all been kind of going through the last 18 months, whatnot. And, you know, as we were kind of chatting yesterday, you said you call it crazy, but with that being said, you know, over this time frame, what all have you done in Branson to get that excitement going, to get people comfortable with coming back to your wonderful destination?
You know, that's a really fabulous question. And I'd like for our organization, the Branson Chamber of Commerce and CVB, to take a lot of credit for it. But I really think, you know, we closed down just like everybody did in March, and many theaters started to open up in Memorial Day, you know, leading into the 1st of June. And, you know, it was pretty slow, as you can imagine, like most people experience. But toward the end of the fall of 2020, people were tired of not going anywhere. And, you know, we're within a day's drive of 1/3 of the U.S. population. People weren't getting on planes. They were getting in their cars and they were driving to destinations. We have a lot of outdoor soft adventure. So because we're a drive-to destination, a family destination, people felt safe here. We did have a mask mandate going on in our community through earlier this year, but people felt safe. Jo-Ann, is the best I can say it. And really our message was, and this was my message all along, and that's to groups. And, you know, and I remember doing these Zoom calls, these Zoom appointments, and I felt so blessed to be able to stay connected, you know. But my message to them was, how you doing? Hang in there. You know, when you're ready to travel, Branson is open. So that's really been the message since day one. When you're ready, we're here.
That's fantastic, because you're seeing that the people, like you said, from all over, especially the drive market, are coming to visit your destination.
Yes, they did.
I do think, you know, that's something that people also may not realize, that it is very much an international destination as well.
It is.
And you're going to get that surgence of folks that are going to be coming back to see you guys. And especially
no, no, you're absolutely right, Jo-Ann. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, because of the pandemic, the international market, obviously, it changes all the time as far as what they need to go through. I was visiting with the Canadian tour operator a couple of weeks ago, and she said she needed my help to try and find a place where, if she brought a group to Branson for New Year's Eve, where she could get COVID testing. So I'm telling you that story because whatever you need, call me and I will take care of it, or at least as best I can. I made several calls. I even called the president of the Cox Hospital, and because he sat on our board, and I was like, listen, I need your help here. And we've got our Canadian visitors, we miss our Canadian visitors. And I'm sure there's lots of folks out there who are blessed enough to have, we've always considered Canada a domestic traveler, which is terrible. They're totally international, but we're just so close to them. And we have a lot of Canadian groups that come our way. So,
well, and I wanted to go back too, because when we were talking about the different types of groups that come, and you mentioned how many theaters there are. Did you say at one point there was close to 50 theaters?
Yeah, live theaters where, there was some kind of live performance going on, every day of the year.
Gotcha. So, because then I think for the student groups that you work with and dance groups and whatnot, those are all very attractive, especially as performance areas or opportunities to see, sit in a theater and experience what that really is, because not everyone gets that opportunity.
Well, and Jo-Ann, to take that description further, I like to describe it as Branson teaches the business of show business, okay? So a student group, I know, don't you love that? So student group, I know I do too. So a student group can come to Branson. They can do a backstage tour. They can have a Q&A with light people, sound people, choreographers. And here's the cool part. They can be a pre-show, a 20-minute pre-show for a live paying audience in a theater. And then afterwards, they can actually come in and sit down and watch the show that they've seen, the back of the house and the people, because, everyone thinks about the entertainers on stage that make it all happen. And quite frankly, it's the people behind the scenes, when you incorporate them, that you get the full picture of how. And you know what? I've had music educators who have been on my fans. Mm-hmm. And I had one of them say to me one time, and it was just it just really touched my heart. He said, being here, my kids have an opportunity to see that they can make a living playing music and being an entertainer. And I just that is so cool. That is so cool. So yeah, there's other destinations that offer that. And I think the more there is, the better. It just really gets the word out there that students have a great learning experience here.
And with everything that you're telling me and I'm hearing, I'm just thinking, gosh, I think it's a special gem, Branson. Once again, I've only had the pleasure of being there once. But
now, when was that, Jo-Ann?
That was for, I think it was a conference. It was one of the Student Youth Travel Associations.
Was it CIDA? Because we hosted that in June of 2015.
Yes. So that's how long it's been since I've had the pleasure of going back, and I've always wanted to go back.
Yeah. Well, you're invited.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Queen of Branson.
Okay.
But if we know people are coming, it's a drive market, a family market. So I'm hearing, when I think in my brain, why now? Why Branson now? And what I've heard you say earlier is because Branson is open.
Yeah, we're open. And when you're ready to travel, I'll be honest with you, we no longer have a mask mandate. And, half of the country wants one, half of the country does not have, and again, I don't even want to get into all the politics of that. But the nice thing about this is, you don't have to wear a mask if you don't want to, but if you do, you can. You know what I mean?
Well, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's the best of both worlds. I mean, people aren't forced to do something they don't want to do, but for the ones who it makes them feel safe, there you go. It's there for them.
And I recall in one of our conversations too, when we were talking about, there's so many outdoor activities, but there's so many theaters, but your theaters are of such grand scale that there's plenty of opportunity for the distancing in the actual theaters as well.
There's no doubt, Jo-Ann. There was plenty of room for social distancing last year, let me just say, okay? And you'd walk into an 800-seat theater, and there were 40 people there, and they were spread all over the place. But that theater and those entertainers were happy to give a great show for those 40 people who were there spread all over the theater. So, I think it takes a really special person to go, I realize there's only 40 people in here, but we'll act like there's 4,000 and make sure they see a great show.
That's
and
right. They're going to give it their all.
They're going to give it their all.
It's all about the energy in the audience. There could be 40 people and have a, fonder energy and excitement level than maybe 400, right?
Absolutely.
If the audience has the ability to make or break that show, right? I always think of them as the additional cast in a performance.
No doubt. Oh, no doubt about it. And, I had some wonderful stories told to me by various theater. I know all the group salespeople in town representing whatever.
You do?
And, I do. I call them my peeps. Anyway, they told me some incredible stories about people showing up in their mask and, in tears because they were just so glad they could get out and enjoy their lives. And again, we did, our community and our destination worked very hard to keep people safe as best we could with extra cleaning and other things. So
making people feel good, making them want to come back. I mean,
absolutely.
that's what you've always done there in Branson, right? You and all of your partners that you
absolutely
work with, your peeps. So I do have a question though to ask you. So we're talking about all of the different shows, and my understanding is forever in my brain, I thought that you were from Branson, but you actually moved there, several years ago.
Yeah.
And what was your first hospitality job? What did you do?
Well, let's see. So what year is it? It's 2021, right?
Well, we're not asking you to throw out any dates, so it's okay.
That's okay. I'm not telling you how old I am, if that's what you're asking. I moved to Branson, Missouri in 1975 from Kansas City, Missouri. So I've always been a Missouri girl. And so, I don't know how far we're going to go back. My first hospitality job in Branson was working at the Pizza Hut that's no longer there. But my second job was the one that changed my life forever. And I saw an ad for openings at Silver Dollar City, this theme park that was here. And I went out there and, I filled out all the paperwork and, I had no idea what I was applying for, but they kept moving me into the entertainment division. I was like, okay, whatever. So anyway, I found myself auditioning, singing and dancing for a featured female entertainer at Silver Dollar City. And as it turned out, about 30 days later, I got a call and asked if I wanted to be an entertainer at Silver Dollar City. So, and that was I actually started in 1977 working at Silver Dollar City, and I was there for 20 years. I did start out in the entertainment division, Jo-Ann, but then I eventually got into the sales and marketing department there.
Sure. Well, it sounds like to me, I wonder if they even knew back at Pizza Hut that you really needed to be in the spotlight because.
Well, I did my very best to stay in the spotlight at the Pizza Hut. So, yeah, not a problem there. So anyway, but no, it was quite a journey as I look back on it. I met my future husband at Silver Dollar City. So, and lifelong friends. It was a great experience for sure.
Oh my gosh. So then you made eventually this transition into the sales side. Promotions and marketing and whatnot.
Sure.
Did you think that this would be a lifelong journey for you to be in hospitality? Or I know you referenced serving your community.
Sure. I've always thought I had I say thought, there's no doubt I have a servant's heart. I do. And, to take care of people in whatever respect that is, if you make them smile or just help them, whatever that situation is. I guess as I think about that question, Jo-Ann, sure, I was always going to be in the hospitality industry, but at what level? You know what I'm saying? And how I moved into sales and marketing, Silver Dollar City, I was out at Silver City. I was working on the park. I was all dressed up, big wig, big hair, long dress, just talking to
What
people.
was your character? What was your character?
Well, I actually started out in the saloon show. I was a saloon girl. I was a dancer. And I was out talking to people. And one of these marketing managers came up to me and introduced himself. He said, "My name is such and such." He said, "I might have a job for about 6 weeks. Would you be interested in coming in and talking to me about it?" And what that was is in the 70s, Branson was open April through October. So guys, I mean, obviously all the major business, I mean, hospitals and gas stations and grocery stores and doctor and all that, that's open. But anything tourist related, it closed the rest of the season. And so you collected unemployment the rest of the time. So at that time, Shepherd of the Hills was very popular. Silver Dollar City was very popular. So you either worked at the farm or the city, and it just so happens. No, you did. You worked at the farm or the city. And what's interesting about that is many people, you worked 2 jobs out of 6 months and collected unemployment the other 6 months. So I worked at the city in the day and the farm at nighttime doing, so that's what you did. And I look back on it now. And of course, obviously, it was in the 80s that, was it the late 80s, that Ozark Mountain Christmas began and it became up. And what's interesting about that, Jo-Ann, is, last year, we've got about 31 full-time employees here. 25 of us were furloughed, and I was one of them. Mm-hmm. I was furloughed for 4 months last year, and I collected unemployment. And I thought, I haven't collected unemployment in 40 years. This is so weird. But I was glad.
You're like, is it 6 months on, 6 months off?
Exactly. At that point, I was ready for the 6 months on and the 6 months off. But yeah, that's how it all started. It's really crazy when I think, when I moved here, there were 4 music shows in Branson, Missouri, 4 theaters, 4 shows. The Presleys, the Baldnubbers, the Foggy River Boys, and the Plummer Family. And they were open 6 months. They did 1 show a day. There wasn't such thing as a morning show and a matinee show. And it was crazy. I remember the president of the Branson Chamber at the time in the early 80s. There were 10 theaters here. And he said, "I don't know how Branson can maintain 10 theaters." Of course, obviously that blew up and, things just went crazy. So it's incredible. So again, some great, the job I was telling you about, that the marketing manager at Silver Dollar City, I said, sure, I'll give it a try. I worked for him for 7 years. So I worked for him in the wintertime, and then I was an entertainer in the summertime. So that's how that whole thing kind of worked out. It was great. It worked out good. So,
but what a perfect fit for you to be in the role that you're in to talk about the things that you've experienced. Like, you could share from your personal experience of being on the stage or being at Pizza Hut or being at one of those outdoor events. You can talk about that from your heart, from your own personal experience, and from backstage as well. What it means to put that, show on for someone and what your heart wants to bring to them.
Absolutely. And Jo-Ann, you said it earlier when you're talking about the audience. Right now you're an audience of 1. I know other people are watching and listening, but, the audience, sometimes I really feel like I can sense the audience, what they want, what they need. And again, I think that all kind of falls down to customer service. It is all about serving people and providing the best customer service. And in this day and age, when I'm out and about shopping and I see signs in grocery stores and signs in restaurants and shopping area, it's like, please don't be cruel to our staff. They can't, we're shorthanded. We're doing the best I can. I see them all over town. And I'm thinking to myself, what is wrong with people in this day and age that everyone is having a tough time? And I realize, you might be having a bad day, but a smile and a kind word goes a long way, Jo-Ann. It does.
I think most of our viewers would agree with you.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway,
When we're talking though about, you were saying before about your peeps and your partnership, and you said about customer service, and really a smile and a big heart goes a long way. I mean, when we talk about those partnerships, maybe on the other side with your tour operators and your travel planners and the group leaders that you work with, I mean, what do you find that is one of the most important things that you can do for them?
That is a great question. So I can only name one.
Well, the floor is yours.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Because again, there's several things.
To dive into, how much you value partnerships.
I value them very much. And I'm just eager to share this with you is the reason I asked one. I remember years ago, my first ABA was like in the early 90s. And so I think about, I've been to 30 ABAs over the years or more, all of them. But I remember asking a tour operator years ago, it's like, how can I get your business? How can I get you to consider, my destination or whatever? And I was just really floored by his response. And he said, return my call. And again, he wasn't directing that at me. He was that was just a general statement. So as busy as I get sometimes, one of the most important things that I want, of course, that's before email. And, I'm just, I get into my office in the morning and the first thing I do is check my email. And all of a sudden I've climbed down this wormhole, of stopping doing and doing.
Many of us.
Yeah, we all do.
You're not alone.
No, I know we're not alone. And I try to prioritize, look like but again, I always try to return my calls. Someone has reached out to me, a tour operator, a travel agent, a reunion, whoever, and they need my help. They need to know this. They need to know that. And what's interesting about that is depending on the situation or the timeline, many times it's like, let me do an RFP for you, request for proposal, no cost or obligation. I'll help you find your rooms. I'll help you find this or that. And then there are times when, Lenni, we're going to be there next week. I couldn't believe the groups in 2020 that would come and visit Branson, Jo-Ann, and they would call me and she's like, I've got 30 people, I need rooms. I was like, when are you going to be here? And she said, next week. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So, needless to say.
You're kidding me, that's great. And then behind the scenes, you're like, come on.
Yeah, needless to say, we didn't have a lot of time for an RFP, but an RFP is always a good way to start because that's when I connect my tour operators and travel agents with my peeps, I'm bringing these people together. I'm saying, okay, here's a travel agent, a tour operator reunion. They're looking for rooms. Okay, hotels, here you are. Here it is, guys. Here's the information. Please respond as soon as possible. So,
well, great. So what I'm hearing is you really need to be accessible and
always
follow up with them, which is another reason why I did put your email address back on the screen so people can reach you.
Absolutely.
And I know that we're starting to wind down a little bit on time, but I was wondering with all you've done in the industry, and I know you've traveled so many places and even internationally, domestically, but what is one of your fondest travel moments, whether it was personally or business or whatever that may be?
What a hard question. Because it would be you mean fondest memory or just most memorable?
Either way.
Either way.
Whatever you feel like sharing with us today.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share something that many people already know. It was in January of 2015, and ABA was in St. Louis. And of course, Renee Eichelberger is such a dear friend of mine. I love her. And she was working really hard to put that conference together. And we were really, really looking forward to it. That opening night, they had the big opening party at the Cardinal Village.
Okay.
And there was, of course, in those days, ABA was 3,000 people. Anyway, so we were all over there having a great time. And at the second level, there was a mechanical bull. Have you ever been on a mechanical bull, Jo-Ann?
I personally have not.
And I would encourage you to not ever get on one. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't go there.
Anyway, is this a public service announcement, Lenni?
Oh, it definitely is. Yes,
okay.
yes. It's definitely learn from my mistakes, people. Okay. So anyway, I had a group of people who just insisted that I get on this darn bowl. I was like, leave me alone, leave me alone. So I finally walked away because they kept nagging me. And then I came back and they found me again. Come on, Lenny, get on this bowl. So anyway, needless to say, my whole thoughts the whole time were like, I don't want to get on this bowl. People have cameras. They're going to take a video. Who knows what'll happen? Needless to say, I did get on that bowl for maybe
a little encouragement, and you're a people pleaser. You want to do whatever you can.
I guess.
And let's not forget the spotlight.
Well, and you know what? You bring up some good points, but I think it could have been a lot more fun had I been on it longer than 30 seconds, because as soon as I finally got on that crazy thing, I was down in 30 seconds. So I didn't see the video that night. I did not. So the next morning I went to my booth, the Branson booth.
Okay.
And Mike Pittman, oh my God, he's so ornery. He came up to me and he said, Lenny, have you seen the video of, I was like, oh, all of a sudden I got this really sick feeling into my stomach, and my boss was standing right there. And she said, no, you need to see it, Lenny. I was like, oh, what? So anyway, Mike Pittman pulls out his phone and shows me this video falling off this mechanical bull. And I mean, I laughed so hard, I almost peed my pants. So, and needless to say, at the conference, the whole conference, every time I'd see a group of people kind of leaning over and starting to laugh, I was like, oh my God, everybody's seen this video. And again, it's memorable. It's memorable.
Do I have a lot? Right?
It was totally, yeah. And the thing about it is, I've got 100 more fun experiences to share with you. But listen, that was just a crazy, crazy thing that happened. And even people today, sometimes somebody will introduce, this is Lenny from Branson. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. She's the lady on the bowl. They're like, oh my God, it's Lenny.
So people already are drawn to you. They feel that connection just from seeing that video.
Yeah, I think so. And I think at the end of the day, what brings me such joy is it's brought so much laughter to people. I mean, my God, what kind of gift is that? Especially in these crazy times, we all need a good laugh, right?
That is 100% true.
Right.
And I very much appreciate you sharing that story with us.
Oh, I had to.
I think our viewers will understand that, right? Until you get out of your day-to-day, no matter what age you are, there's something to be said about new experiences, new adventures.
Yeah.
Seeing beyond your 4-block radius if you can.
Yeah.
And that's really what you and your peeps, your partners in Branson are really trying to do.
Yeah.
And I do have to go back. I have to ask one more time because I'm fascinated about your background and being an actress in the shows and a dancer and all of those celebrities that you were mentioning earlier. Do you happen to have a fond or a favorite time from when you were performing, or someone that you met that just kind of blew you away? Because, not everybody lives the life that Lenni Neimeyer lives. So,
You make it sound, Jo-Ann, you make it sound so glamorous. Okay, so this is a fun story. Okay, I got one. So, and I'm sure many of our viewers will not know who the hell I'm talking about, but when I was working at Silver Dollar City in the 70s, Burl Ives was a big deal. Do you know who Burl Ives is? He's the snowman in the cartoon Frosty the Snowman. That's his voice.
Oh, okay.
That's Burl Ives. Okay, go ahead and Google it.
Everyone Google it. Everyone Google Burl Ives.
Burl Ives. Anyway, they filmed a movie at Silver Dollar City, and Burl Ives was the star of the movie. And I was in the movie with Burl Ives. Is that fun or what?
Okay, this is new information. So once again.
And seriously, I'm full of them, Jo-Ann. But again, that was a memorable, very memorable experience. I'm trying to think of some others, because again, Bob Hope. Oh my God, meeting Bob Hope was incredible, Jo-Ann. I just felt like I was hugging this amazing legend of film and screen and comedy. So Yeah, that was pretty amazing. So, I met Garth Brooks backstage at the Grand Palace too. And that was in the early 90s. That was when they did a Christmas special at the Grand Palace with Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, and Garth Brooks. So that was pretty amazing. And I have met Dolly Parton. Oh my God, she's amazing. As a matter of fact, I'd love to share a story with you that I heard directly from her, but I can't tell it.
Oh, way to draw us all in. I'm like,
oh my God, it's a true
leaving us with
story.
Some teasers here. Now we have to go to Branson just to find you.
It's a true story too. And I'm just going to give you this little tidbit. I was in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and she was filming her big Christmas special. And her publicist is from New York. And her publicist had these nails that were like, 2-3 inches long, actually longer than Dolly Parton's. And Dolly Parton looked at her fingernails. I heard her say this, but I'm not going to repeat what she said to her publicist about her long fingernails. Just imagine what Dolly Parton might have said.
I'm sure it was colorful. It was colorful, fun.
Yeah, very, very fun, Jo-Ann. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Of some fun things too, because I know we've been talking as of late more about your grandson, and I hope I say it right. Leif?
His name is Leif, yes.
And, you've already heard me say that I do think that you are the queen of Branson, and your heart just shines through. And I know that he just thinks that you are so fabulous. And, can you tell us at least one last thing about this gem of a grandson?
Okay, first of all, here's a picture of my grandson. His name is Leif.
Aww.
Leif Jacob. He's my son's son. I don't know if you can see it.
You can.
And I took him on the Polar Express last night on the Branson Scenic Railway. Oh my God, Jo-Ann, it was so amazing. The Polar Express. I mean, I have no other Polar Express to compared to, but it was absolutely amazing. We had cookies and hot chocolate, and Santa came down, and we went down into the south part, almost down into Arkansas, and then back up through a Christmas light display. It was really, really amazing. But I gave him, he was at Nana's house. He calls me Nana. He was at Nana's house last weekend, and he was asking for a cookie, and his mom doesn't want him to have too many. I was like, well, you can just have one. So anyway, I handed him a cookie, and he took a bite of it, and he looked at me and he said, Nana, this is fabulous. Of course, fabulous is my word, and let me show you.
We have many descriptors for you now, and then I think this
there you
one's
go.
really
There you go. Oh my God.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with Leif. And I'm also going to have to say that what I've also heard when you talked about Polar Express and you talked about some seasonal shows is that it doesn't sound like if I just went to Branson in the spring that I wouldn't, it doesn't sound like I wouldn't want to come back there. I'd want to come back there in the fall or winter because it's a different experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which really lends itself to, once again, all the different types of groups, but it is a year-round destination that is open arms, welcoming groups.
Jo-Ann, one of the questions I get frequently from various types of groups is, what's the best season to visit Branson? And really, that's impossible to answer without asking some more questions.
Right, you need some qualifiers there.
Yeah, I need some qualifiers. First of all, just so you know, and I start out, the two busiest months in Branson are July and November. July because of big vacation time. November, Jo-Ann, because of Ozark. It's Halloween, October 31st, and then it's Christmas on November 1st in Branson, Missouri. So the Christmas season begins very early. But November 5th through the 11th, Branson hosts one of America's largest veterans celebration, and it's amazing. This year was our 89th Veterans Parade, and I got, oh my God, when I think about it, it just warms my heart. I got to visit with so many of these wonderful veterans, and we do this thing called Veterans Village, and there's these different vendors around, and all the veterans eat for free, and And again, it lasts, and there's special shows and different things, and it lasts the 5th through the 11th, but then Christmas. So people are like, Lenni, what's the best season to visit? Okay. What season do you like to travel in? You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you, we are a year-round destination, but there's not as much happening in January as there is in April, May, or November. And again, Jo-Ann, I remember when Branson, Missouri closed down November 1st, and to see it as being one of the busiest times of year, it's mind-boggling, really. It really, really is.
It's got to be so encouraging to see people as things have opened up and continue to open up, to see the influx of people there, the hospitality that the folks in the Branson area are giving back to everyone and welcoming them. So more and more people want to come. If we had to leave them with, viewers that are watching now with one thing, which was really going to be hard for you, Lenni, one thing that you'd like to put out there about Branson, what would that be? Outside of you being the queen of Branson.
Well, and thank you for that. I really appreciate that title. I think I should get a tiara to go with it. So, Jo-Ann, I've said this all along, and really when we opened, Branson is open. When you're ready to travel, we're ready to take care of you. I think probably that will stay with me for so long. Who knows how long this pandemic is going to last? I don't think any of us thought it was going to last this long, hon. And, but people are still hungry to get out and to travel and to connect with people and families and enjoy themselves. So when you're ready to travel, and you know what, you can say that it doesn't even have to be during a pandemic, but just those words right there, when you're ready to travel, we're here. We're going to take care of you, and we're going to celebrate you and welcome you and take good care of you.
Well, really, we talk about connection and bringing people together and those experiences. And I think now more than ever, people really want that and need that. And that is what you and your team with Branson and that whole area there is really doing, is welcoming people and being there for them, whether it's now or in the future. And we know now it's a year-round destination.
Yeah.
With opportunities for all demographics, no matter what age.
Absolutely.
For people
age group. And again, the families I saw traveling this year, it was just so, I saw 4 generations together, you know what I'm saying? And that just really warmed my heart, and you could tell they hadn't been together in a while just by the whole interaction of them. this is a great destination to people watch, it's Silver Dollar City or even
there's
in town.
People watching too.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a tour you want to take. But people watching. And again, it just warms my heart to see these people come together in a community and a destination that is so happy they're here. And we just want to show them a really great time. So.
Well, I thank you again so much, Lenni. It's been wonderful to have you on. I know the takeaway from this is people are they're going to walk away with your energy. They're not going to forget your bull riding story. But they know that you are ready to welcome them, and they can reach out to you to bring their groups of any type here. By reaching out to you at your email address, which is listed below.
Right.
But also, if they have any other questions too, they can always start exploring your destination by going to explorebranson.com/groups.
Yeah.
And, we just can't thank you enough. And we look forward to having you on again, hopefully in the future. I think something that's very important for our viewers to remember too is anyone that's in any destination, and today the spotlight is on Branson and Lenni and her partners, is you can go into our supplier database on Group Travel Odyssey's platform, and we have her partners in there. We have Lenni's destination, her heart, Branson, in there. And you can put together itineraries through our system. You can reach out to Lenni to get an itinerary. We're looking at uploading some of those onto our system as well. Nice. But through GTO, through Group Travel Odyssey, you have all these suppliers and Lenni's partners, DMOs, marketing organizations at your fingertips. You can always reach out to them directly, right, Lenni?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we're not here to take away that relationship. We're just here to help connect everybody together, everybody elevating the level of travel together and making things easier so we can keep people on the roads and having these great experiences.
Yeah. Keep them traveling, keep family and friends together, because that's really what it's all about. You know, anybody out there listening, if they need help on planning a family reunion to Branson, give me a call, drop me an email. I'll get you started. So anyway.
Fantastic. Thank
All
you
right,
so
honey.
much, Lenny. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next week on Convos with Colleagues, Tuesdays at 2. Thank you,
Bye,
Lenny.
Jo-Ann. Thank you,
everyone.
sweetie. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.